So one thing the Brexiteers like to bang on constantly about is, oh, WTO, WTO, WTO. And of course they're referring to the World Trade Organization. But of course, that's about the limit of their knowledge, shall we say. They don't know how it operates, how it runs, or the fact that Australia and New Zealand and other countries are already preparing to sue us using the WTO to get their favourable terms through, because we will be separate from Europe. Now, of course, this is ironically also benefits us from what we're about to go through, but also puts us at a massive disadvantage. So, the UK's post-Brexit trade deal at risk as WTO's top court shuts down. The UK is at risk of being left at the mercy of the EU in its trading relationship in a year's time after Donald Trump engineered the shutdown of the World Trade Organization's top court. The US president's refusal to approve any appointment or reappointment of any judges on the body has left it unable to function. From midnight on Wednesday, the World Trade Organization Court will no longer adjudicate on trade disputes, putting the world at risk of a free trade free-for-all in which the largest blocs have greater freedom to use their economic weight to do as they wish. Countries or trade blocs who have not negotiated bilateral trade deals continue dispute resolution mechanisms will have no independent means for resolving their problems with each other. If the UK leaves the EU on the 31st of January, Johnson has said that he will not extend an 11-month transition period in which he wants to negotiate a comprehensive free trade deal with the bloc. Failure to complete those complex talks by the end of that period will result in the UK trading with the EU entirely on WTO terms, including the imposition of tariffs and quotas from the 1st of January 2021. Under those terms of the transition period, the UK is to remain in the single market and the EU's customs union temporarily. Should the UK, once outside those structures, come to believe that the EU is imposing vexatious barriers to trade, there would be no recourse to legal redress for the British government. WTO members are still expected to comply with their international obligations. The EU would be expected to sincerely follow the terms to which they have signed up to, along with 164 other countries of the trade organisation. The WTO body deals with the most extreme trade disputes. But the CBI has said the shutdown of the court would leave global trade like a football match without a referee, and the UK's lack of free trade agreements post-Brexit would leave the country's economy vulnerable. Andre Spar, a senior fellow at the Brussels-based think tank, said that the UK would be left in a legal limbo. It is in the UK's interest for a solution to be found, he said. Relying on WTO rules doesn't look so good this morning, one EU official said. The WTO buccaneering Brexiteer alternative looks like hubris. A number of senior Conservatives, including the former Cabinet Minister, John Redwood, had previously championed leaving the EU without a trade deal. The EU is looking at building a shadow arbitration system in the interim for a solution, but there is no agreement as to yet within the bloc or internationally. The WTO was established in 1995 to deal with trade disputes. The UK will become an independent member if it leaves the EU. Phil Hogan, the European Commissioner for Trade, who oversees the EU's negotiations with the UK, said that with the court body being removed from the equation, we have lost an enforceable dispute settlement system, and that has been an independent guarantor for large and small economies alike, and the WTO rules are applied impartially. So there you go. That's the WTO option for the Brexit that they've been championing since day one, completely blown up. And if Johnson thinks that he's somehow going to get a comprehensive free trade deal in less than a year, then he would literally be setting a world record. There is no trade agreement that has ever been organised within a year. it takes at least, you're looking at 8 to 10 to be able to organise a trade deal. Regardless of the situation of us coming out, it doesn't matter. That's how long the standard trade deal takes around the world. It is not going to be solved within a year. So, we're screwed, essentially. And again, with Johnson in his majority, it's all going to be on him. He's got no one else to blame.